Okay, good. Yeah.
Big thanks to Kimberly, who made this possible, who invited Dr. Brown to speak with us. So we're going to have
Good
her
job, Kimberly.
introduction, if you would be so kind. Kimberly, take it away.
Okay. Dr. Melissa Brown is an expert on nutrition education for individuals with ID. Dr. Brown has mentored student volunteers providing nutrition education to athletes at state competitions, in stand-alone events, and on virtual platforms.
I have to take it down here because the dog
Just
is
as
down here.
Jim cooking.
My dad, darling bag, right above the soda.
Please put yourself
Dr.
in
Brown, Dr. Brown was awarded the 2020
No,
Gloucester
not. I don't need that.
Award,
Milligan.
was honored as health champions in their extraordinary efforts towards fulfilling the goals, values, and mission of the Special Olympics Global Health Program. I'd like to welcome Dr. Melissa Brown for coming onto the Zoom today with us.
Thank you, Kimberly. And thank you for inviting me. This is different than our Zoom cooking, so this is going to be fun. Let me share my screen. I'm just going to flip off video so I don't have problems with the screen. Okay. And everybody can see that okay?
Yeah.
Good, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
So
Dr. Brown.
thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You're welcome, Dr. Brown.
So what I'm going to do today, well, first, Kimberly, do you mind unmuting and just letting your fellow global health messengers know why you invited me to speak tonight?
So the reason why I invited Dr. Melissa Brown to come in because she's part of it is with nutrition and making healthy choices and making like good food portioning on how to make good healthy eating habits.
Yes, exactly. So thank you, Kimberly. And so what we came up with some suggestions from Kimberly was just some different topic areas that I'm going to go through with all of you. And then you can then go forth and share that with your athletes. So it's a full presentation and all of the slides are going to be emailed to you. So you'll have all of the slides, and then with the slides, there are notes. So if you read the notes, it gives you a guide as to what you can say when you're teaching your fellow athletes about each topic. And you can go through all of these topics, or you can break it down and have mini presentations. So you could do a whole series and have 5-10 minute mini presentations on just my plate, for instance, or just the food groups, just fruit, just vegetables. Or you could do dairy, grains, nutrition and weight control, nutrition and bone health, nutrition and healthy blood pressure, portion sizes, or hydration. So I'll go through each of those and show you how you can then use these slides for your own health messaging. All right, so the slides and the presentation title is right here on the screen, and it fits very nicely into what Kimberly had in mind. So it's food, nutrition, and hydration for athletes. So eating right is important to your health and your sports performance. So that is something you want to share with your fellow athletes, to let them know that eating is actually really important. It can help them stay healthy and also improve their sports performance. So both of those things are really good messages to share. And eating right can be easy because there are many delicious, healthy choices. So this is really important to share because a lot of times when you think about eating healthy, some people might think, oh, that means it's not going to taste good. But that's not the case. So we can always find a way to make something healthy and taste good. All right, so everybody knows my plate. And so we will,
Yes.
of course, right?
Yeah.
So
Of course.
you're old pros at this, and we're just gonna show some slides here that you can then use to teach your fellow athletes about My Plate. So following My Plate makes it very easy to plan healthy meals and snacks. And you'll remember that it's divided into the 4 sections. So fruit, vegetables, grains, and protein, and then also dairy. So that'll be your 5th food group. So we're going to go to the next slide here. And this one gives the message that My Plate can work for all cultures. So you just pick your healthy foods by groups that are shown in this circle here. So this is the plate. And Debbie, I'm going to stop sharing this. And if we could pull up the first video that's going to go through My Plate.
Sure. Oops, let's do it. All right, ready? Back it up to the beginning.
Ready. So you could also use videos like this, short clips, if you're giving a presentation online or in person.
Nice.
I can't hear anything. It's too low.
Listen all about My Plate. In this video, you will learn what the My Plate is, why we should choose My Plate, where food belong on the My Plate, and at the end, I will share a food hero recipe that you can try making at home. So let's get started. My Plate is a reminder to eat all 5 food groups. The 5 food groups that make up the My Plate are fruits, vegetables, protein, grains, and it's important to build your meals and snacks from all of the food groups to get the nutrients you need to help you grow, play, learn, and stay healthy. To help us build healthy My Plate meals, we first need to learn which foods belong in each food group. Let's start with fruits. Examples of fruits: apples, bananas, grapes, oranges, cherries, blueberries, and watermelon. Can you think of other fruits?
Peaches.
When choosing fruits, it's important to focus on whole fruits. When we choose whole fruits instead of drinking fruit juice, we get more nutrients and fiber. Examples of foods that belong in the vegetable group are carrots, cauliflower, lettuce, potatoes, mushrooms, tomatoes, squash, and broccoli. While you might have a favorite vegetable you like to eat, it's important to vary your veggies because different vegetables contain different nutrients our bodies need. Foods like meat, chicken, eggs, ham,
You log in? Yes, I'm in. Okay.
The flour and the taste. Bang it. Say she won't go back for it again. I said, y'all gotta try. Oh, everybody was full after their meal, so nobody wanted dessert. And Tracy's like, you got
protein.
Debbie, would you mind pausing and maybe going back just a little bit? I'm not sure. Somebody had their microphone on, and I'm not sure others were able to hear.
I'm gonna try to get back and mute everybody who's not on mute. Everybody could please put yourself on mute, please. All right. Sorry about that, Dr. Brown.
Yeah, no worries at all.
All right. So, all right. I'm gonna back it up a little bit.
Yeah, that's good right there.
There we go.
Nuts and seeds, and tofu. I have a rhyme I like to use to remind me which protein foods are healthier for me. Go lean with protein. That means choosing protein foods that have less fat, such as chicken, eggs, and fish, and our plant proteins. To help give our bodies energy, we need to be sure to include grain foods, such as rice, oats, and pasta. Flour is made from grains, and we use it to make foods like bread, muffins, and pancakes. Masa is a grain made from dried corn. We can use masa to make tortillas. Not all grains give our bodies the best energy, which is why we should choose whole grains, because they give our bodies better, longer lasting energy. Try to make half your grains whole. You might be wondering, how do I know I'm eating a whole grain? You can look for this yellow stamp on the food package when you're helping your adult shop for these different grain foods. Have you seen this stamp before? Dairy foods help us build strong bones, which is really important for kids as they grow. Examples of dairy foods are milk and foods made with milk, like yogurt and cheese. Other types of milk, like soy milk, count as part of the dairy food group too. We should choose low-fat dairy foods because they contain the same nutrients but less fat. Nice job! Now that you know which foods belong in each food group, see how many food groups you can find in your next meal. And remember, it's important to choose MyPlate and balance your meals with all 5 food groups so that you can get the nutrients you need to help you grow, play, learn, and stay healthy. One of my favorite Food Hero recipes to make for lunch are the Sunshine Roll-Ups. Let's take a look at the main ingredients and see how many food groups we have. Chicken, celery, mandarin oranges, whole wheat tortilla, and lettuce leaves. Now, let's put each food where it belongs on the MyPlate. Chicken. Great, a protein food. Celery goes in the vegetable group. Oranges are a fruit. Whole wheat tortilla, a grain, nicely done. And lettuce, another vegetable. Oh, looks like we are missing dairy. What dairy food would you include to make it a complete MyPlate meal? I think I would enjoy my sunshine roll with a glass of milk.
Okay, so you can go ahead and pause that one, and then I'll bring up my presentation again.
Hi, Debbie. I'm on time for you.
All right. And everybody can see my slide again?
Yes.
Okay, so that video is one you can share with your fellow athletes or just get some ideas from it. So it's going over how nutrition can help improve health. So an easy way to do it is to use MyPlate. And so you can ask your fellow athletes, like, why do you want to eat healthier? And so you can ask that of your audience or the group that you're with, and then see what they say for what their reason is for wanting to be healthier. So if I asked all of you, if you want to put in the chat, how or why do you want to eat healthier? What would you say?
So we can live longer.
Live longer? Okay, very good. We all want to live longer, right?
I have some questions for you, Dr. Brown.
Okay, Debbie, how do you want to do that? Do you want to do questions at the end or in between? I don't mind either way.
Why don't we hold our questions till the end? If you guys can just remember them and let Melissa present her presentation so we can get through it. Okay.
Yeah, and feel free to put it in the chat, and then I can run through all the questions that are in the chat at the end.
Great idea.
So why do you want to eat healthy? So I think it's important if we're the educator to know why we ourselves want to eat healthy. That way we can help our fellow athletes eat in a more healthful manner and understand what their reasons are.
Yeah, part of it too is also like the question it like to have like this most of the MyPlate is mostly is fruits and vegetables, so you want to go to those more than the other stuff.
Yes, and Kimberly, that's a great answer. And why are fruits and vegetables so important to being healthy?
It has like more like nutritious like
Yes.
it's more nutritious, and it's most importantly like when you go out like try to put different things are with like different colors in that because
Yeah, so you mentioned color. I love that. So you can always use the saying, eat the rainbow when you're educating your fellow athletes, because that alone says like pretty much what we need to do. And if you look at the half of the plate that has the fruits and vegetables on it, that's full of color, right? You've got red, you've got orange, you've got green and purple and blues. Eat the rainbow right there with the fruits and vegetables.
Skittles.
It's and Skittles.
And it's
Okay, so that's my plate. So that's a mini presentation you can do on just introducing your fellow athletes to healthy eating in general. You can then get into more specific topics. So if they're interested in what should I drink and what would be healthy choices, you could talk about healthy beverage choices and potentially use an illustration or pictures just like the ones you see on the screen. So if you see at the top there under healthy beverage choices, it says there are many beverage options available, but some of them are better for you than others. And this guide can help you make the best choices to stay hydrated and perform your best. So if you look at the side of the screen where you see what looks like a traffic light, what do you think that means if we're using a traffic light? What would you say the red color means?
We're not
Ah.
asking for you.
Stop.
We're not
Stop.
asking for you.
What you avoid this?
Good.
Asking for you.
Good.
Yes.
And how about yellow?
Slow
Red
down.
caution,
So much of
yield.
it. Like
Love it. And
drink certain
green?
certain stuff.
Water,
always water.
You guys are pros at this. So you could use this to help your fellow athletes understand which beverages to focus on. So if you see there with the red color, so the stop, you want them to limit sodas, energy drinks, and sports drinks because these aren't the best choices. Every now and then it's okay, but the majority of the time you want it to be either yellow or green. And the yellow is where we have our low-fat milk. And if you can't drink cow's milk because you have a lactose intolerance, you could have oat milk or soy milk. And we recommend up to 3 cups. Also in this category of have some but not too much, which would be the yellow, would be 100% juice. So there's a lot of juice alternatives out there that aren't actually real juice. So if somebody likes juice, you want them to limit how much they're drinking, but also make sure it says on the label 100% juice. So if you like orange juice, like the picture shows you on the right of the screen, you want it to be all orange juice. No added sugars, no fillers, just orange juice. And then of course,
I drink soda once a big while.
I'm sorry, what was that, Alicia?
I drink soda once in a big while.
Just every now and then. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
okay.
Me too. Me too, Melissa.
Yeah, every now and then's okay.
Yeah.
You don't
Dr.
want
Brown,
that to,
I'm cutting back on soda
cutting
Yeah.
back. Good, good.
so I don't damage the inside of my body.
There you go.
And
And then what's at the bottom, everybody, with the green light? What do you want to recommend? The majority of
Water.
There you
Water.
go.
if
Good.
some people
Definitely
don't drink
water.
water, it's okay to have like a crystal light packet and that will keep you hydrated.
Yes, absolutely. We have another slide on this, I believe, and that is one tip, Kimberly, that you can share with others as to if you don't like plain water and you want some taste to it, you could
Yeah,
add
I be doing it too.
something like
In the morning I drink like either orange juice sometimes with water inside.
mix
And
it. Yeah.
and the cranberry juice too.
Yeah, so you could do half water, half cranberry, half water,
Right,
orange
yeah,
juice,
yeah.
a Crystal Light. You could put fruit slices in water so it's got the fruit flavor.
That's tangy.
Yeah,
I bring flavored water to work every day.
that's
Me
great.
too, yeah, yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes people might add like cucumber to it to make it a little bit more.
Why is he teaching us about that? Why is he
I love
teaching us
that
about
idea.
choices?
All right, so next up, if you wanted to have another mini, somebody has,
Yeah, I hear back.
okay, we're good now. Another mini topic you can talk about is healthy grains. So what are some healthy grains? Which ones would you think of first? You've got some ideas here on the photo here.
White.
Pasta.
Dr. Melissa Brown, rice.
Yeah.
What kind of rice? Rice
White
is a
rice.
great answer.
White rice?
I would go with the brown rice or whole grain rice.
Oh, I had white.
Or wheat. Anything with wheat.
Anything with wheat, very good. So you can use the notes that you're going to see in the presentation when you get it, and you can go over some facts about whole grains. So for instance, experts recommend eating 6 servings of grain per day, at least 3 of which are whole grains. And so the whole grains have that outer skin called bran. So you've probably heard of the term bran. If you see that on a label, that means it's a whole grain. And the reason we want the whole grains is because they're full of fiber and that nutrition that we really need.
Right.
So you want to look for whole grain breads and cereals, brown rice, corn tortillas instead of flour tortillas, and whole wheat or whole grain pasta.
Because for me, like whenever I do my lunches, well, actually I made it for like tomorrow. I usually 100-calorie wraps along with grilled
Good.
chicken.
Good. So you're looking at that label. We've got some slides on the label, so we can use your help on that one when we get to it, Kimberly.
Oh yeah.
All right. So after healthy grains, another topic you might want to talk about are our sources of protein. So why do we need healthy meat, fish, eggs, and beans? So these are the foods that are much needed for our bodies to function well. And athletes need protein to help keep their muscles strong. So when you're speaking to your fellow athletes and teaching them about nutrition, protein is important for overall health, but also to keep those muscles strong for whatever sport or event that they're choosing to participate in. And remember, your heart is also a muscle. So when we talk about proteins being needed to keep muscles strong, that includes the heart muscle.
Right.
Yeah.
And what specifically about protein do we want to focus on? Low fat or high fat?
Low fat.
Low
Low.
fat. Excellent. So
Absolutely.
most of the fat with protein is going to come from the cooking method. So do you remember from any past education webinars, what type of cooking method would be higher in fat?
Mm-mm.
I think I would just air fry every food I would cook.
And air frying is an excellent choice for
And steam
lower
them too.
fat.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
to steam them on low steam.
Yes, very good. I'd love that you know the answer to that. So you don't want to have the
Thank you, Dr.
actual
Brown.
fried food. And an air fryer is
To
an
make it crispy.
excellent technique to have that feeling of being fried, but not having all that fat.
Without the oil.
With all the oil, exactly.
Without it.
Yeah, for me, one of the vegetables that I
Dr.
like
Brown.
is actually I like zucchini and squash, but I do it like on top of the stove.
On top of the stove? Okay, good.
Yeah.
So you keep the fat to a lower level, right?
Yeah.
So what about chicken? Is there something else about chicken that you can change the way you're going to eat that chicken to remove even more fat from it? How
Okay,
about
that's
when
Probably
they're
from the bones or the skin.
yes, you can
Maybe
remove
bone
the
of the
skin.
chicken?
Very good.
Yeah, the skin.
And then what if we were talking about beef? Are there ways you could look at the label to see which beef would be lower in fat than another kind?
Like ground beef to make meatballs with?
Yes, and if you look at the label, it will tell you which ones are lower in fat. So there'll be a percentage on there, and you could see 90%. And then that would be less fat than, say, an 80%. So the higher the percent on the beef means lower the fat. How about fish? Most fish is already low fat, right?
Oh, I love
salmon.
fish. Yes.
You want to
I love fish.
okay, because they will add more calories to it.
What was that, Kimberly?
Like for the fish, sometimes some people like to add salt to it, but you don't have too much of that.
Definitely don't want to add too much sodium. You want to keep that in a little bit to a minimum. And with fish itself, though, most of the time it's already low fat. We just don't want to eat it fried, right? Because the fried fish, that will increase the fat in that meal. Eggs are another great source of protein. Pork can be a good choice. There are some forms that are called processed. So we want less, or we want to eat less of bacon.
Mhm.
We want to eat less of ham, and we want to eat less of deli meats. So those are processed, and they will have a lot of sodium or salt and can be higher in fat.
So we can't
What
have
about
ham on
corned beef and
Thanksgiving now?
cabbage for St. Patrick's?
It
I'm
depends
sorry?
on what type of. Sorry, go
What
ahead.
about like corned beef and cabbage? I know St. Patty's Day's coming up and people eat that
So
stuff.
that's usually
Yes, yeah,
probably
yeah,
just
yeah.
once a year. So once a year's okay, right? Everything in moderation. So if as long as you're not eating corned beef every day and it's just to celebrate St. Patrick's Day, that's okay. But it is going to be higher in fat and sodium.
Well,
But
with all the stuff in it though, with the broth, with it, I think they have like the broth and usually the cabbage and everything else is all mixed in.
it's all mixed in there. But there's lots of good items mixed in there, right? So you mentioned cabbage, lots of fiber, lots of nutrients in the cabbage, usually some potatoes and corn. I'm sorry, not corn, carrots. Those are gonna help balance the not so healthy parts of the corned beef. All right, one more source of protein. What didn't I mention yet?
Dairy.
Dairy.
Dairy. So that's an excellent source of protein, and we want to keep it to the low fat versions of dairy. And then what else? One
The
more.
grain.
The beans and the legumes. So some people don't eat meat. That's their choice. They don't eat any meat at all, but they can
Maybe
get
they're
their
vegan.
protein. Yeah, exactly.
It's also
Or
chicken.
pescatarian.
Well,
And
here's the other thing though. Now since Lent is mostly coming, and I know some of you Christians.
We already had Lent, Aaron.
Yeah, I know, but then the Lent starts from March all the way to around April. So
Right.
That's between April, yeah.
whoever cannot eat chicken or chicken or beef, you have to eat like regular plain fish. I mean, it's okay and everything
That's
else.
true.
And I have no problem with that because my fiance is mostly Christian, and when she told me that Lent was coming, and I told her, I said, "Well, you're gonna have to. I guess you're not gonna eat meat for the next couple of months."
mostly just on Fridays.
But the only time you can do, because I know a lot of people now. I know sometimes there's a lot of people who will go out and go get like fish fillet or something like that, or salmon and everything. So I mean, I love salmon, I love fish, and I love chicken. I'll stick with that and everything else. Though, and sometimes I always come up with ideas of exactly what I want to eat.
So thanks for bringing that up. So that's a cultural issue to be aware of, because a lot of your athletes might be observing Lent, and so most of the time on Fridays there's no meat. Fish is allowed, but another source could be beans and legumes to get that protein in. So let's move on to favorite fruits. So what are some of your favorite fruits?
I love all the fruits.
Grapes.
All of them good.
Grapes.
Apples, strawberries,
Grapes.
watermelons, bananas.
I do, well, actually, I
It
actually
varies.
do bananas with peanut butter. I do peppers and pineapple, melon, and grapes.
Nice. Okay.
I like
Apples.
Apples.
Sometimes I'll do apples with peanut butter, and then there's times
Ooh, sounds good.
That is an excellent snack. So that is something you could share with fellow athletes as well. You get protein and the fruit in there.
Yeah.
Great snack choice. So a diet rich in vegetables and fruits can lower blood pressure, can reduce the risk of heart disease and stroke, help prevent some types of cancer, lower risk of eye and digestive problems, and have a positive effect on blood sugar. So these are all important messages to share with the other athletes so that they can start to understand how what they're eating can help them stay healthy and make that connection for them. And fruit specifically has a lot of vitamins and minerals and other nutrients as well as fiber. So getting a lot of fiber in your diet is good for you, and it helps keep us healthy. So let me talk real quick about fresh fruit versus frozen versus canned. So fresh fruit is obviously a great choice. So is frozen. So you'll have the same amount of nutrients in the frozen fruit as you would as the fresh. With canned fruit can also work. The only thing you want to make sure of is look at the label and make sure it's either packed in its own juice or packed in water, not packed in syrup. Why is that?
It's sticky.
Sticky.
Syrup is not good for you.
And might have
syrup's not good.
artificial
We're good.
flavor colors in the syrup.
Could
In the
be,
can?
yep. So
Maybe.
sticky, artificial colors in that syrup, and the syrup itself is just added sugars, and we're
It's corn
trying to
syrup.
keep that down.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
You can,
All right.
you
So
can
that's
take,
fruit.
you
So
can take
that's
some
another.
of it
I'm sorry, go
or-
ahead.
I'm sorry. You can take. You can do is if you don't want the sugar in there, you can take some of it out of the can and just pour it out, and then you can take the rest of it and just put it in a bowl and just eat that without the without the sugar in it and everything else. So,
If you do that, I would take one more step for that and just make sure that you rinse it with some water to make sure the syrup's off. So
mhm.
if you go to the
Great.
store and they only have canned fruit that's in syrup and that's the only thing you can buy, go ahead and buy it, but make sure you wash it off or rinse it off before you eat it. All right, that's fruit. So next you could talk to them about vegetables. So this says what are the healthiest vegetables, but they're all healthy. So let's switch it up and say what are your favorite vegetables?
Onions.
Tomatoes, but fermented.
You like the fermented options? Good. I
Like
heard
it- like
tomato.
to turn it into pasta and pizza sauce. That was the only way I can eat tomatoes is if they were fermented like that.
Ah, okay, I see. Now, what if I
Right.
told you that tomatoes are
that's the
actually a fruit?
I know
I
that's
knew that.
debatable, but I still say they are a vegetable.
So, you know,
Where pasta and pizza sauce comes from.
yeah, most of us will think of
Yeah.
it as a vegetable, but it is technically a fruit, which is
But
very
it's not
interesting.
a fruit, it's fruit. It's more vegetable in kind.
So, what other favorite vegetables do you guys have?
Celery,
Onions.
Of
carrots.
course, Kimberly, onions. We know that.
Yeah.
celery,
Yeah.
We know that.
broccoli,
Good,
Carrot.
good, good.
Process.
Can I tell mine?
Absolutely.
Mine is
Cucumber?
definitely broccoli, cauliflower,
Broccoli. Oh, my favorite.
zucchini is my favorite.
Oh, nice.
Cucumber.
Zucchini.
And I
Good.
love tomatoes
Lettuce.
with ricotta cheese on top.
With cottage cheese on top? Oh, that's a good pairing. Good
Yes.
snack.
I like mine in a casserole because during the holidays, my mom makes a broccoli casserole. Is that good enough?
Well, it's in there and you're eating it, right? So you're
Right.
getting
Yeah.
it.
That's
All
my
right.
favorite.
So here's some messages that you can share about why vegetables are healthy and why we want to eat a lot of vegetables. So eating lots of vegetables will help lower blood pressure, just like fruit will. Reduce the risk of heart disease and stroke, just like fruit. Helps prevent some types of cancer, lower risk of eye problems, helps your blood sugar levels, and can help keep your appetite in check so you're not as hungry all the time. And that's because of the
True. Yeah.
fiber.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
I-
same thing with
I've been eating my pecan bars because that hooks me up for when I feel hungry.
candy bars.
No, pecan bars.
Oh, okay. I gotcha. Okay.
Because
All right.
when I get home from work, right, I get hungry.
Sure.
know?
And you want to make sure you pick a healthy snack. So that's good.
Yeah, but maybe give you the pecan bars or fruit, 2 orders. I actually take one in the morning, 2 for work, and 1 at home.
Good. So you're prepared.
Yeah.
That's good. All right, so some messaging about fresh, frozen, or canned vegetables. Again, fresh vegetables, great choice. Frozen vegetables, great choice. They actually will last longer. They're not going to spoil. So if you want to just keep a lot of frozen vegetables in your house, that's a good option. And then canned vegetables can be a good option. You want to make sure you're buying the version that's lower in what?
Low sodium.
Lower sodium.
Lower in
Excellent.
salt.
Yeah.
And again, if you can't find a lower sodium version of a canned vegetable, you can pour it into a bowl and rinse it off to get that sodium off of there. All right, next up, reading food labels. This could be a little mini workshop in itself if you wanted to help your fellow athletes learn how to read a food label and be able to go to the grocery store and compare different food items to decide which one is healthier. So you've all seen the food label, and this one is for a generic frozen lasagna. And how would you know if this was a healthy option? All right, what do we want to look at?
The calorie
Expiration dates.
Absolutely.
The
Expiration
expiration
date.
dates, yes.
Well, most
The amount of calories.
The amount of calories.
Less in salt.
All right, very good. So we do want to look at calories, but in order to truly understand the calories in what you're going to be eating, what do we need to know first?
How many servings per container?
Yeah, absolutely. So how many servings are in this container?
4 servings per container.
And
It's
then
1 cup.
And 1 cup. So if you ate
227 grams.
What if you ate the whole container then? How many servings did you have?
You just had 2.
1 whole cup.
You're done.
If you ate the whole container of this frozen lasagna, you would have, there's 4 servings in that container, so you would have all 4 servings. So that means all the calories that are listed in just 1 serving, you're actually having 4 times that amount. So 280 times 4. And then Kimberly mentioned that there's individual nutrients that you can look at. So there are some nutrients listed that you want to limit and some that you want to get a lot of. So which ones do you want to limit?
The
saturated and trans fat.
The fat, so saturated and trans, the cholesterol. I think I heard salt and sodium. Good.
Yeah.
The total carbs.
For some folks, yes, some have to pay attention to how many carbs. And then how about added sugars?
Yes.
Eliminate those.
Good.
Yeah.
And then which ones do we want to make sure we're getting a lot of?
Calcium.
Absolutely.
Potassium.
Yes.
Vitamin.
Iron and vitamin D.
Very good. And one more here. I think you can see my...
Protein.
The fiber.
The
Dietary.
fiber.
No, not dietary.
And then one last thing to look at on the label. There's this.
The daily value.
Yes, very good. So if 5% or less means there's low of a particular nutrient, and 20% or more means there's high or a lot of it, is there anything on here that you would look at to say, maybe I shouldn't eat this particular product?
I look at the calorie count.
The calorie count? Any of the nutrients?
The sodium is really high.
It's
and the
very
cholesterol is high.
It's very high.
And
So
that-
two options for this. You can either opt to eat this particular food and then adjust how much sodium you get the rest of the day, or you could just skip this and pick a lower sodium option.
Dad, when are you leaving?
Is there anything on here where you're getting a lot of it that would actually be a good thing?
The fiber.
Fiber, it's a good amount of fiber. It wouldn't be considered high, but 4 grams at 14% is a good
No,
amount.
that's low. That's a low amount.
The calcium.
The calcium, very
The
good
calcium.
at 25%. Good.
But that's too high. That needs to be lower.
There's some of these nutrients that we want to be high, and calcium is one of them. So calcium at 25% means this food product is a good source of calcium.
But the sodium makes it bad, so I would
The
skip
sodium
the
is
calories.
high.
The calories is too high too. I will skip that.
You would skip this. So you're making that decision for yourself. And so you've got this tool
I don't
to
want to be
help you.
too fat.
There you go.
I don't.
Good. Okay.
I get fat easily.
All right. So the next slide. This you saw in the video earlier, the sunshine roll-ups in that video. Can somebody mute?
Yeah, Dr. Brown. Guys, can we please show respect to Dr. Brown?
Thank you.
Yourself, please.
Okay, now we can hear.
Very good. So this is the nutrient label and a picture of the final product of the sunshine roll-ups that you saw in the first video. So if you look at the top, how many servings per recipe or per container?
Oh, it says like half a roll up.
That is the serving
Servings is like
size.
one and a
Very
half.
good.
Okay.
There's 4 servings per container.
Right. So there you've got the
for sure, there we go.
servings. And then what else is important?
The calories.
Good.
It's lower, 180.
Yep.
And what else is important we want to look at?
The sugar.
The ingredients
Fat.
on the label.
The
What's in
ingredients
it?
are important and
The nutrients.
vitamins.
good. So for the percent daily values on this, we don't really have any that are too high. And the nutrients, all of these levels are within the levels that we would be looking for. So there's not a lot of fat, there's not a lot of sodium. You've got some calcium, not a ton, but you do have some potassium, and then you've got a good source of lean protein, and the carbohydrates is in a acceptable range. So that's why we were using the sunshine roll-ups as an example in that earlier video. So I am going to stop sharing, and if we could pull up the second video, and they're going to demonstrate how to make those sunshine roll-ups.
That's good to me.
That over?
And if everybody could stay on mute so we could hear it, this is an easy recipe that you could demonstrate to your fellow athletes.
Looking good, fellas. Skip the commercial.
We all have our own different and no matter what that style is, we can use MyPlate to help us get all the nutrients that our bodies need to stay healthy. So today's recipe.
Ooh, I'm sorry, guys. That was my bad. I'm like a. There we go. There we go. Okay. Sorry.
No worries.
Salsa, parfait, and smoothies all have in common. They were made from ingredients that grew because
Oh,
of
I
salt.
think it's the wrong
Right,
video now.
Okay. Hold on, let me fix that. Sorry, guys. I just totally screwed up. Let me just go back to that for a second. Give me 1 second.
Don't worry about it. Take your time. We do get copies of these sheets to look at, don't we?
Yes, I provided the PowerPoint. It has the links to the video in it and then the actual recipe for the sunshine roll-ups.
Right.
We all have our own different eating styles.
That looks good. I may want to try to make one.
We can use
Can you
MyPlate
guys see
to
that?
help us
We
get
can't see the video, but we
Nothing,
can hear
no.
it.
Okay.
So today's recipe is a really
My goodness. Okay. There we go. I'm gonna back it up just a little.
And just like the name implies, this is my plate. Or you know what? It could be your plate. But guess what? That's the beauty of food. We all have our own different eating style. And no matter what that eating style is, we can use my plate to help us get all the nutrients that our bodies need to stay healthy. So today's recipe is a really fun and easy way to do that. It helps us get all 5 food groups in just one meal. So to begin, I did wash my hands already, and I have all the ingredients here ready that I'm going to use. And just to highlight, This recipe can be adapted to your own personal eating style, so if you don't like the foods that I choose, that's okay. You can choose a different food, but just make sure that you're choosing from each of the 5 food groups. So to begin with my roll-up, I'm going to choose a whole wheat tortilla. I'm going to set that on my plate. And for my vegetable, I'm going to choose lettuce. I love lettuce leaves. And I have it washed and chopped up in this bowl already. And I also prepared a little dressing using soy sauce, rice vinegar, and some sesame seed oil. I love this flavor, so I always add it to my lettuce. Pull that in and toss it around. I do like a lot of lettuce, so I'm going to add a lot. So far I have a grain and a vegetable. Next, I'm going to add some mandarin oranges. I love these things because I love to drink the juice. Or if you have a whole orange at home, you can peel that and slice it up and put it into your wrap. Or you can choose a different fruit. Alright. I think I'll just use all of them because I love them so much. Okay, so I've got grains, vegetables, fruits. My protein is actually in the oven. And it does look a little bit hot, but actually what I did is I baked some tofu, and before I baked it, I did marinate it in some soy sauce. I'm sticking with my soy sauce theme. And what I'll do is I'll link how you can bake tofu onto our classroom. So make sure you check that out because baked tofu is really good. I do recommend it. So what I did, I cut it into strips. So I'll add a couple strips here onto our wrap. What's left? I've got grains, vegetables, fruits, protein. Last one, I'm missing a dairy food. But for my dairy food, I'm going to have it on the side. But I did cut up some cubes of cheese. I love cheese. All right, food heroes, I hope you try this recipe out and you let me know how you make your sunshine roll up at home. I'll see you next time. Oh wait, I almost forgot to roll it up. That's what makes it a roll up. All right, you might have to squish some ingredients together if you're like me and you like to put a lot on your tortilla. And you know what, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I would have warmed up my tortilla before I added my ingredients, but that's okay. Ta-da! My sunshine roll up. Now we have to try it. Might be a little messy. I really like the tofu. But let me know what you think of this recipe on our classroom where you can build your own sunshine roll up.
All right. So we can go ahead and pause that. I'll bring my slides back up. And while I'm bringing my slides back up, you may have noticed that she had the whole tortilla. So if you look at this serving size, how many servings is she getting if she eats that whole tortilla roll up?
All 4.
All 4 servings.
Half a roll up serving. So if she has the whole roll up, that's half twice. So that would be 2 servings, right?
Right.
Okay. And you notice she used tofu, which is another excellent source of lean protein, but you could, of course, put grilled chicken in there or a lean beef, whatever is your preference for protein.
Tofu is also good for turkey at Thanksgiving if you want to do
Turkey,
low fat.
absolutely.
I said, like,
Absolutely.
make a tofu turkey for Thanksgiving.
I think they call it
They have a
tofu,
regular
right?
one if you want to do
I
low
have a
fat
good one.
Thanksgiving.
Go ahead. Who said they have a good one?
I said it, Alexandra.
Go ahead, Alexandra.
Miso soup has tofu in it.
Ah, very good. So you like that?
Yes, like some soups have protein, like hot and sour soup has mushrooms.
Very good. All right, so this last few slides I'm going to go through fairly quickly. They're just mini topics you can talk about for specific purposes. So nutrition for healthy blood pressure. What would be the first thing you would want your fellow athletes to know about helping keep their blood pressure under control? What particular thing would you want to limit?
Junk
Like
food.
certain sweets.
So sweets, we don't want a lot of added sugars. I heard junk food because that has a lot of sugar usually, or salt.
Yeah.
Right? So
Yes.
when we're talking about nutrition for healthy blood pressure, the keys are keep the salt intake low or low sodium. Skip the processed foods because those usually have a lot of sodium in it, as well as added sugars. The sweets for the added sugars. And then just to make sure that you're getting in lots of fruits and vegetables because that is actually good for managing blood pressure. How about nutrition for a healthy weight? What would be some good recommendations for that?
Yogurt.
Portion sizes of your foods. Making sure you eat half of what you needed.
So that portion control, very good, very important when we're talking about managing our total calorie intake so that we can maintain a healthy weight. And what helps with that, and you can use this, which I believe most of you have probably seen somewhere along the line, but to teach your fellow athletes about what are healthy portion sizes, you can actually use regular sports items. So they're going to be familiar with a baseball or a hockey puck or a golf ball. And so you can let them know that if you look at a baseball, that would be the equivalent of 1 serving of fruit or 1 serving of rice or pasta or a serving of vegetables. Hockey puck would be equivalent to 1 serving of bread or beans or meat. And then a golf ball, which would be, of course, much smaller, would be a serving of cheese, nuts, or nut butter. So you can use those as examples that they would understand and recognize. How about foods that help strengthen your bones and teeth?
Oh, I can name a few. Cheese, yogurt.
Good.
Carrots. They help with your eyes to see better.
Yes, they absolutely do. So with the dairy or the cheese, we're going to go with the low-fat version. And then yogurt, same
Lactate
thing.
ice cream.
How about sushi?
Yeah. What's in sushi that would help?
Sushi.
The fish?
Some of the fish, especially if they have the little tiny bones still in there, that would be helpful for strengthening your own bones and teeth. So we want to focus on those that would have calcium and vitamin D.
I got a quick question to ask you before I go.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I was wondering, what would be good advice for food when a person does like long distance track events? Because I do long distance track events.
So the best way to fuel up for that, does anybody else have the answer before I go ahead and give that answer? It's the carbohydrates. So if you think about what has carbohydrates or the grains, that's the best way to fuel up for a long event. So something like a bagel or some pretzels, fruit.
Right.
If you've ever had the squeezable fruit, so it comes in a pouch, it's like applesauce in a pouch, that would be a great way to fuel up for that.
And then
And they also work for assisted living. I was wondering if I could teach residents something like this.
Absolutely. That's a fantastic idea. And I think they would welcome that. They would want to learn more about it.
Yeah, because we just had a new rec director that does everything, and I thought maybe I can teach him the advice that you taught me.
Yes, I would love for you to do that. And I think they would also understand my plate. And so you could go through my plate with them and help them build their own healthy plate.
Right, yeah. And
All
I gotta
right.
go too anyway.
Well, thank you for joining.
All right. Nice to meet you, Melissa.
It's nice to meet you as well.
Good night.
All right, so for hydration, we'll just wrap up. We already went through a healthy beverage slide earlier, but just some additional tips here. So we've got the cucumbers and lemons to flavor up the water, or you could put fruit in there. You could have milk, which would be low fat, or just plain water. And then, of course, you want to perhaps do a whole lesson on how your fellow athletes can manage their sugar intake. And this is added sugars. So this is a great visual if somebody does like soda or does like sports drinks, just to show them exactly how much sugar can be in just one of those sodas or one of those sports drinks. And so that is a lot of sugar in each of these. So if I told you that we recommend that we only get 6 teaspoons of added sugar a day, look how much is in just one soda or one sports drink.
16.3 and 8.5.
Right, so that's a lot more than the recommended 6 teaspoons a day from
That's
just
above it.
one. So it's absolutely above it. Good.
To me, they look like ice cubes.
All right. And then if you wanted to do one lesson on staying hydrated and just go over some signs of dehydration that you could make them aware of. So if they're feeling thirsty, or if they're really tired or sluggish, or they're getting a lot of headaches, if their mouth is really dry, or if their urine is a dark color. So if you see this color chart, just by looking at your own urine, you could see if you're well hydrated or not. If it's a light or pale yellow, you're doing pretty good with hydration. But if it's darker, that could mean you need to hydrate.
You got to add more water, right?
Yes, you do. Very good.
I learned that the hard way during the winter games, but I'm doing better because I'm getting more drinks inside of me.
Oh, very good. All right. Well,
Wow.
that's it for the presentation. So I do want to get to your questions if we have time. So let me stop sharing. Do we have time for the questions, Debbie?
It's 7 o'clock. I think if folks want to stay on for a little bit more and get some questions answered, that's very kind of you, Melissa, to kind of stay on and answer some questions. So
Yeah, absolutely.
that would be great. Thank you.
All
Hey,
right, so
Debbie.
let's start with, wasn't there another My Plate with the yellow circle? So there's a lot of versions out there with different colors. So yeah, absolutely. There's a yellow one out there, and basically what's important about the plate is just to understand the how the plate gets divided. So half is fruits and vegetables, and then the other half is split between the lean protein and the grains. Dr. Brown, is it good once in a while to have a cheat day? Let me ask you guys that. What do you think?
Yeah, once in a while, but not all
Yes.
the time.
Exactly. So moderation. So if this weekend you decide you wanted to go to a restaurant with your family and have what you would consider a cheat meal, that's okay. That's fine. And then you just get right back on track the next day. Nope, not the Skittles candy for Eat the Rainbow. All right. What if I don't like eggs themselves? You can definitely find a different option for lean protein. You do not have to have eggs if you don't like them. All right, we've got some favorite fruits and vegetables in there. Let's see if there's any other questions. Okay, no other questions in the chat. So let me just ask the audience if you want to raise your hand with a question. Looks like John has a question.
How about Gatorade? Is Gatorade good?
So Gatorade is that slide that I showed the last slide
What
with
about
the sports
Powerade?
drink.
Were they the same?
So Powerade and Gatorade are the same. Now, what I want to say about that is there are periods of time when the sports drink will be most beneficial. So what you
When?
don't want to do is you don't want to drink the sports drink, the Gatorade or the Powerade, all day and all night. But if you want to have it right before you're going to do your sport, then that's okay because that will actually help you perform better. But you don't need to be drinking it as your main beverage. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes,
yes.
Dr.
Okay.
Brown.
Okay, good.
Like
More
right
questions?
Like right after I power lift or right after I play golf or something, right?
Very good. So right before, during, or right after. That's your window if you want to drink a sports drink, but
Got it.
not with breakfast, not with dinner. So
Or lunch.
or lunch. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Justin, do you have a question?
Yes. Aaron brought up a good point for like people who might be vegan.
Yes.
And for like Lent coming up. I also think two other perfect examples of like going meat free or meatless. Two other great examples would be, one would be jackfruit.
Yes.
Because it has a similar taste, texture to meat.
I love that.
And I think black beans.
Yes. Those are great options. So those are two more options you can use with your fellow athletes. And mentioning jackfruit, not everybody's going to know what that is. So if you ever have the opportunity to do any taste testing with your fellow athletes to show them what certain things taste like for healthy eating, jackfruit would be a great item to have them taste test so that they can see what that's like, because not many people have had it. Ryan?
Yeah, I do have a question.
Go ahead. What's your question?
My problems.
Technical difficulties.
But is food. Have you tried dragon food?
You had a little bit of a.
I've never had.
Could you just try one more time, Ryan, or put it in the chat because I'm having trouble hearing you.
Yeah, Ryan, put it in the chat.
I'm saying dragon fruit. Have you ever tried
Oh,
it?
dragon fruit. So anything like that, like where a lot of people won't have heard of it or tasted it, it'd be a great taste testing day to have something like that. Let fellow athletes just try a new fruit, try a new vegetable.
Yep, and I do drink
Gatorade?
water.
Okay.
Hint water. Like an H. Hint water.
Oh, yes, hint. Okay, so that just has a little bit of flavoring in it, right? That's what you're talking about?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes.
All right. Any last questions?
Dustin Prince?
I think I'm good. Thanks, Debbie.
Thank you.
Justin, your hand's still up. Was that from before? Or do you have one more question?
I had a question.
Okay.
How much water should we be drinking per day?
So where did that question come from? I just want to know the name because I can't see who asked that.
Oh, Justin.
That was Justin? Okay. So how much water should you be having a day? So usually it's about 6 to 8 glasses of water. But then also remember, as we're getting into the hotter weather, the summer months, you might want to have even more if you're doing a lot of activity in the heat and humidity. But again, it doesn't have to be plain water. So if it's 6 to 8 glasses, it can be that hint, or it can be a Crystal Light flavored water that Kimberly mentioned earlier.
Would 12 be a good number or no?
12 could be a good number. So everybody will be a little bit different. The taller you are, the bigger you are, the more you'll need versus somebody that's on the smaller side. And then again, the more active you are, you'll need more hydration.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, everyone. Well, thank you so much for coming. I had a lot of fun. I don't know if you guys had fun, but I did.
I did too, Dr. Brown.
That was
Oh, good.
a lot of
Thanks.
good information. We really
Well,
Yeah.
Thank
you so much, Dr. Brown.
Dr. Brown.
I got to tell
Thank you.
So Becca
Thank
had
you.
to leave a little bit early, but what did she
Thank
write?
you, Debbie.
Oh, wow, I like that a lot.
Thank you, Debbie.
Oh, good.
I think
So,
that's
Thank you, Dr. Brown.
you know what, everybody, before we sign off, what I would love is if anybody wants to just send me an email that lets me know which of these topics you use and taught to your fellow athletes. I'd love to hear about how it went. And then if you have any other suggestions for any topics.
Yeah, and if there's any way that the health and wellness department can support you if you do want to share one of these topics with your teammates, let us know. Email me as well, and we could support you with either supplies or my plates that you can pass out.
Nice.
And we'll get that information too to Dr. Brown.
Yeah, maybe we can talk about a plan to do that so we can kind of come up and maybe practice it on one of our calls so you guys can practice giving this presentation to your peers, and we can either set it up. Caitlin and I can talk a little bit about how we can kind of work together and maybe do a Zoom call for other athletes or do something in person, maybe at the fitness festival or something. But I think there's like lots of possibilities here.
Yeah.
Good. I love to hear that.
Jake,
All
you
right.
had your hand up there for a minute there. Jake, did you want to say something real quick before
Where's
we wrap up?
Jake?
Go ahead, Jake.
see,
You're on
There he
mute.
is.
Oh, okay. There he is.
You're
You're on mute, Jake.
Hmm.
I do that all the time too.
There you go.
How do I mute myself?
No, we can, Jake, we can hear you, buddy.
Hi.
Hi, Jake.
Hi. I was wondering if we can bring like a healthy meal to the fitness club and the input council meeting. I was wondering if that would be a very, very extremely good idea.
You know what? I like that, Jake, a lot, because anytime you can model what you're teaching, that will work even better. So if you can show your fellow athletes, this is what I brought for my meal, and then walk them through the different components and why it's healthy, I think that's an excellent idea.
Debbie, do we get a gift card for being on the call today?
We'll talk about it. All right, let's wrap up. Melissa's been so kind in going over beyond the hour. So let's give her a big round of applause and thank her for all this wonderful information.
Love that.
Thank you very much, Dr. Brown. Thank
You
you.
guys are very welcome, and thank you all for being willing to be global messengers.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right, everybody have a good night. Thanks.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Debbie.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night. Good night.